From now onwards,
Yes, sir. Sir, now onwards you have 40 minutes.
Okay, all right, I'll begin here. Yes, I was sharing with you that how the anthropological approaches are important and how anthropological approaches are different from other approaches. I mentioned normally a physician will discuss and talk and evaluate the human on the biological issues. Economists will discuss on the production, distribution, consumption. Sociologists will discuss on the social structure and function. But as an anthropologist, we study the biological entity and the social. In case of coronavirus, I repeat again that the impact of corona on the human body causes changes in the body like cough, fever, sneezing. It may have ultimately problem in the lungs. So these are the biological changes. And we know until now, we don't have any remedy. Vaccination, other experiments are going on. Do you think coronavirus will disappear? We are under lockdown. We are maintaining social distances. Now, if corona is going to last long, lockdown is not going to last long, then we have to find ways how I live with the corona. It sounds a difficult situation, no? But we have to live with the corona because until now, no scientific method has been developed to make corona vanish from the world. We may have vaccination to prevent. We may have curative method, but corona will be there. Corona will be there, lockdown will not be there, isolation will not be there. Then what is the answer? Both for the urban situation and the tribal. Tribals are more vulnerable than the tribal. Tribals are more vulnerable. Why? I showed you the picture that 75 primitive tribe we call particularly vulnerable tribe. They are suffering malnutrition, living in isolation. They have challenge on livelihood. Their habitat is forest and forest spring area, but forest is getting degraded. So at one point, malnutrition, forest degradation, climate change, lack of livelihood, and on the top, corona comes. Imagine this coronavirus will be there. So what is the way out? The first thing, I repeat, the first thing of any human society to fight against corona is to improve immunity. And for improvement of the immunity, nutrition is very, very important. So for the tribal, we have to think of how we improve the nutritional status of food security, and also how we develop new behavior of social distance maintaining, the physical distance. Because in the tribal area, any outsider coming with latent invaded positive corona as a carrier, it will infect the tribal. So how the tribal will be improving their nutrition status, immunity at one side, and finding livelihood within their own, because often the tribal go out of the village, they go to the urban area, work as a day labor. So that's more vulnerable. So what is to be done? Now the strategy which anthropologists have been studying, that in the same habitat we have to encourage organic farming, reduce of chemical fertilizer, use of indigenous plant, use of indigenous seeds, use of indigenous livelihood, indigenous fishery. So all such has to be done in the tribal habitat. Now what I'm saying, that what changes has to be done, the changes has to be done at the policy level first. Normally forest department, agriculture, livestock interact with the tribal very intimately. So unless the forest official, agriculture, livestock, animal husbandry officers, they form as a policy to improve the livelihood of the tribal and also maintain physical, that no outsider will be coming. This is at one side. Another very important thing one has to see, that distress migration, I repeat, distress migration of the tribal, they often migrate from one locality to other for earning their wages. So how to restrict on the distress migration at one side, and also have a very controlled visit of corporate marketing chain. This any kind of corporate marketing chain to sell their product, to have more profit, makes tribal more vulnerable. So these are the strategies. Now this is the strategy on the policy level, and another strategy will be the change of behavior of the tribal. Now easy saying than doing, changing behavior, changing culture, changing institution. But as Sir Raymond Firth had mentioned, that for economic activities, the community have decision making, they go for the choices. So we have to bring choices in front of the tribal, how they maintain for the economic activities. You know, the Edmund Leach, as an anthropologist, he mentioned about the political issues. In the village level also, there are many political domains where the tribals are deprived. So such approaches of anthropologists, understanding the economic activities, safeguard from the political exploitation, and very, very important, what Margaret Mead has mentioned about the women empowerment. So how the women empowerment will be there of the tribals? We have to organize transfer of technology to the women. So the appropriate technology to the women and adoption of technology by the tribal is very important. What happens sometimes, you know, we train people, we give some material, and many agriculture extension officers they visit, they do their duty, but the tribal do not accept it. So transfer of technology is not giving them, but adoption of technology. And adoption of any social behavior is measured only, you know what? When women folk adopt it and it is inherited to the next generation, to the children. Now, adoption is very important. So I will show you quickly what I am saying, whether it has been done somewhere. So I will show you 2-3 case studies of tribal, where primitive tribal, how anthropological approaches have brought change. Such changes were brought by a group of anthropologists, and they have brought in that. Let me share with you. I'm talking about the Kamar. Yeah, Kamars are primitive tribe of Chhattisgarh. Their main economy is bamboo, basketry, bamboo craft. Now you see the forest is degrading and bamboos will be vanishing after some time. The women folk, can you see my slide? Can you see the slide? The women of Kamar making basketry. So this is the case study of Chhattisgarh, that their nutrition is poor. Their livelihood depends on the basket making. Now, because the forest is degrading, the bamboos are also disappearing. What do they do now? So as I mentioned, the traditional economy is very important, but we have to also train them for better organic farming, organic livelihood. So for that, we have followed again, I mentioned earlier, the tilers. Definition you see, when you want to change the culture, culture is the complex whole of the knowledge. We used to follow the knowledge, art, belief, moral, custom. But during our study, we never emphasized it. The last 2 words what Tyler has mentioned, capabilities and habits. That means if you train the community, you build their capability. But by building capability is not enough if they don't change the habit. If habits are changed, then only culture will change. This is what Tyler has mentioned as an anthropologist. Now we have to see how we build the community, their capabilities and habits, changing habit. I'll show you. Here we train them on the organic farming. And in the village, the women folk were also mentioned how to prepare with the cow dung on the organic. Earlier, they were very hesitant. But as an anthropologist, we have to have rapport with them. We have to train them. This is practicing anthropology. In the practicing anthropology, we have to learn as an anthropologist. I say, as an anthropologist, we have to learn certain skills which we work with the community. And I will show how this is growing, the vegetable, mulching by the Kamar, the primitive tribe, and the changes. Such kind of changes has brought a different kind of development in the Kamar. Now, if they grow vegetables, if they go for organic, if they have indigenous cattle, so the food security will be taken care, the immunity will improve, and this will help biologically be strong to fight against corona. So I have shared with you the case study of Kamar. I'll show you another. So, एक्सपायर में नहीं वो पड़ गया था ना हाँ हाँ ठीक है ये वाला बिलोल लिखा हुआ है इसको बंद कर दो इधर है Yeah. Once again, I will share with you on the vulnerability of the tribal and preparing them biologically strong, making their nutrition, improve their immunity, and have option for neighbor. Here I am talking to the director of Bihor in Jharkhand. Kiतना time? 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And see, the Bihor, they have, as I mentioned about the Kamar, the livelihood traditional wall on the basket making. The Bihor, they are making rope in the forest with the forest fiber. Now, when the forest is degrading, the Bihor livelihood is at stake. What the government has done, they have made concrete colony and allowed to settle them there. Bihor have settled there, but no option. And they, what they do, such a long colony, but no livelihood. Forest is also not there. So there also, you can see one of my colleague anthropologist, Sudipto, he's working with the Bihor and training them on the organic farming, a new skill. As an anthropologist, in the participatory method, what Malinowski has said, if you participate with the community, they learn together. Anthropologists also learn together. And we could not believe that Bihor will adopt, learn kitchen garden, organic farming. Look at the children. If the children learn with joy, the transfer of technology comes to the next generation. And look at how nicely they have made the road of vegetable. The women have brought the kitchen garden. You can see they are using their sari to protect against animal. This innovation comes here. They are also making nursery. This is all done by the Bihor, a group of anthropologists working in Hazaribagh. Such changes will improve their nutrition, improve their immunity, and will be able to protect. They are also having it. Not only that, I am very happy this Bihor came to Kolkata during one of the anthropological congress, and they are sharing how it is coming. Such kind of Bihor adopting new technology, changing new habits, following Tyler definition, and when they come to the world, share with others. This is mainstreaming. So what I wanted to share with you quickly, that see here, these are the Kamars who have been trained by the group of anthropologists in Chhattisgarh on organic farming, and we can see how they have quickly adopted. Now they are making resolutions that we all will be doing, and I'm so happy the forest department is witnessing the whole change. Now, if the forest department is encouraged, and then when we withdraw, the change will be adopted by the Kamars, and it will be supported by the. They have mentioned all resolution that how they have been done. So this is the changes which has been brought by the group of anthropologists through anthropological approaches by making provision, building capacity of the primitive tribe. I have also with the Lodhas, the time is not there, otherwise I can share with you that building their capacity, conservation of forest, and changing habit, changing culture. Unless changing culture, we cannot. The last thing. While we were studying in anthropology, we were told anthropologists do not have right to change other culture. Now, when there is a forest degradation and there is no option of the livelihood, you have to have alternative option. The villagers, if they do not go for immunization because of their culture, we have to encourage to go for immunization. If the tribal women do not adopt the advice of the health center, so antenatal care will not be done. In the village area, there's a child marriage. Most of the girls are married below 16. It's more hazardous in the family. If the tribal go excessive drinking, it causes on the health. So the change in the drinking habit, change on the child marriage, encourage for antenatal care, encourage for organic farming, encourage for adoption of technology, all these require institutional change. So 20 years back, when we used to discuss with that, many used to say, look, anthropologists have no right to change the institution, tradition of the tribal. I was silent. Then I said, if anthropologists have no right to change the tribal culture, and if anthropologists will watch the child marriage, anthropologists will charge the vulnerability of health, anthropologists will watch and document how the forest is getting degraded, anthropologists will watch how they are exploited, then I as an anthropologist cannot continue watching this. I will prefer saying I am not anthropologist, I am a human, and as a human I will train them, I will bring the institutional change, I will encourage for immunization, I will encourage for organic farming, I will encourage for indigenous tribal development, I will encourage for women empowerment, I will encourage for transfer of technology for the children to go. And this is what is required with anthropological approaches, biological changes and social changes with the institutional reform. This is at one side. Same way, once again, I emphasize, whatever change we are are bringing, it has to be adopted by the government functionary. If your method is not adopted by the government functionary, if forest department do not appreciate what you have been doing, if agriculture department does not continue organic farming, if livestock people do not encourage on indigenous livestock and fishery, all your knowledge, practices will be isolated and it will be withered away. So finally, we as an anthropologist have to adopt module to train the forest department and change the policy. So I believe in bilateral matching institution. So I have a paper on bilateral matching institution, how the department will continue. This is one. And the method which I mentioned about the changes, eco chain, you will find on internet. If you say eco chain participatory management, eco chain participatory biodiversity management, you will find on the internet what approaches I have mentioned on the internet, on the European Union website, also on the Google's eco chain participatory biodiversity management and also bilateral matching institution. Thank you so much, my dear friends. I wish we could interact if any question is there, and hope you have found something different, very important biosocial changes of anthropology. That is why the IBRAD, the founded by anthropologists, and IBRAD, the full form is Indian Institute of Biosocial Research. I repeat, Biosocial Research and Development. Any research we conduct, if it is not applied for development, the research will not be valued by the community. So biosocial research and development. And for development, anthropologist has to practice practicing anthropology. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, can't hear.
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my name is Nazar Banskota from Sikkim University. Since this is a class for the biosocial research and development, I wanted to put a question that some of in current days that lots of the vaccination and antibodies are come across in the hard work of the medical researchers and the scientists, but in these days some of the scientists or medicine says that the patients who have already recovered from the COVID-19 illness, they can donate their antibody that already they prepared inside their body to the ill person in order to cure them. But meanwhile, others are claiming that the antibodies that we extract from the already recovered person isn't working in some other's body. And the same question, that is, in some way the 13 plus countries are requesting India to provide them that HCQ, that is hydroxychloroquine. And in meanwhile, that one lady claimed that in the newspaper I saw that she said that her husband was deceased, passed away for taking this HCQ medicine. What your perception on that, sir, about that antibodies that I can extract from the recovered person, and about the ACQ that are working in some person's body and some are died to taking them, sir? Thank you.
I must say, this approach of biosocial research and development, it has got a little different connotation. Biosocial research is understanding, but development is changing people.
Yes,
so one of the biasness of anthropologists, that we have no right to change the culture of others.
Yes.
So if we do not have right to change the culture of other, how you go for development.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So the first thing we have to understand that bringing change for
Yes,
the appeal of the society, bringing change on the malpractices, bringing change on the ill health practices, we have to bring. So this is what is my assumption also and my philosophy also. You know, this institute, Indian Institute of Biosocial Research Development, is founded by anthropologists, group of anthropologists. While I
yes,
was
sir.
working for Anthropological Survey of India, and I'm very happy that we have been working in number of states and international collaboration also. We also receive interns for
Yes,
work in IBRAD
yes, sir.
for 2 months, for 3 months from different institutes
Yes,
for
sir.
practicing development.
Yes,
Study is
sir.
one part, but if the study is not used for development, then what for the knowledge is? This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have noted one more point in your lecture, sir. First of all, I want to say sorry for that. With due respect, I want to put a question that in your first slide, you just put a thing that anthropology is a holistic study of man. Sir,
That's right.
sir, is this the correct term? Does anthropology is the holistic study of only man? Does it doesn't study women? I think, sir. It's a little suggestion to you, sir. I'm just a master student. You are a, I mean, great researcher. But sir, instead of putting a holistic study of men, we can how if we put is a holistic study of human beings, sir. And another more that point I have observed, sir, uh, being under training anthropologist, I'm a being under training anthropologist, and you are already a trained anthropologist, sir. But uh, being an anthropologist in a 21st century, does it correct to use any community as a primitive tribal, sir? Primitive tribe. I mean, there in same tribe there are lots of people who have already are civilized in many ways. So in that terms, what's your opinion, sir? Is that correct to use term tribe for a particular community, sir? Or rather we can use as a remote community or remote villagers?
Mhm.
I'm so sorry,
Uh,
sir, but
yeah, yeah. First, there is some question yes about the holistic. First, my dear friend, please don't mind. Uh, the spelling of holistic is not WHO, it is HOLISTIC. This is one.
yes,
So, pardon. This is one. Secondly, yes, earlier, whenever you used to call mankind, study of man,
yeah,
it
yes,
meant
sir.
human. It is a patriarchal society, you know, for anything they will call it man. But when they
Sir,
say
but
man,
um,
it means human, both men and women. So when we call mankind, we